As the Empire's attacks grew more intense, the time came to awaken these super soldiers. The humans knew that their regular forces, no matter how brave, couldn't keep up with the Empire's superior technology forever. The super soldiers were humanity's last hope. When the first of them awoke from cryo-sleep, the world held its breath. They were human, but they were more than human. Each one had been specially trained and enhanced for combat. They were designed to be the perfect warriors, and they had one purpose: to protect Earth. When the first group of super soldiers was unleashed, the Empire had no idea what hit them. These enhanced humans arrived on the battlefield with extraordinary strength, speed, and intelligence. They knew no fear and felt no hesitation. They were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting for the future of their world. Their presence on the front lines completely changed the tide of the war. The Empire's ships, which had once been unstoppable, now found themselves facing a new kind of enemy. The super soldiers were able to disable the Empire's technology with ease. They could infiltrate the Empire's ranks, using their advanced intelligence to find weaknesses and exploit them. The humans were not only resisting, they were pushing back, and the Empire's forces were beginning to feel the pressure. The super soldiers led Earth's forces to victory after victory, each battle proving that the Empire's strength alone couldn't win the war. With every fight, the humans became more confident, and the Empire's soldiers began to question their own strength. How could they possibly defeat a species so determined, so relentless? The more the super soldiers fought, the more they proved that the humans were not to be underestimated. The Galactic Empire had never encountered anything like this before. They had expected Earth's people to be weak, to be easily controlled. But now they were facing humanity's secret weapon, a force of soldiers who were stronger, smarter, and more determined than they could have ever imagined. The Empire had underestimated the humans once, and now they were paying the price. As the super soldiers continued to turn the tide of battle, the Empire began to realize that they had made a grave mistake. Their once unshakable grip on the galaxy was slipping. Humanity's secret weapon was unstoppable, and the Empire's rule was no longer as secure as they had once believed. The Galactic Empire, once a massive and unstoppable force that controlled vast stretches of the galaxy, was now facing a crisis unlike anything it had ever experienced before. The human resistance, which had once seemed weak and insignificant, was proving to be far stronger than the Empire had anticipated. The arrival of Earth's secret weapon, the genetically enhanced super soldiers, had tipped the scales in humanity's favor, and the Empire was beginning to lose its grip on power. It was hard for the Empire's leaders to believe what was happening. Their once feared fleet, which had struck terror across the galaxy, was now being pushed back by a species they had considered primitive and weak. The Empire's advanced ships and weapons, which they had thought would crush the humans without question, were being outsmarted, disabled, and destroyed by the humans' resourcefulness and their unstoppable new soldiers. The super soldiers led the charge. They had been trained for this moment, and every battle they fought showed just how powerful humanity had become. Their abilities in combat, both physical and mental, allowed them to turn the tide of the war. No longer were the humans merely defending themselves, they were now taking the fight to the Empire. The super soldiers infiltrated the Empire's bases, disabling their weapons and systems with incredible precision. They took down Empire officers, destroyed key facilities, and even turned the Empire's own technology against them. With each victory, the Empire's forces began to crumble. The once feared generals and admirals were defeated, their fleets scattered and disorganized. The Empire's vast resources began to dwindle as more and more of their ships and troops were destroyed or captured. The people of Earth, inspired by the success of the super soldiers, fought even harder, uniting in a way that the Empire had never imagined. The resistance grew stronger with every battle, while the Empire's morale began to collapse. The Galactic Empire, accustomed to ruling with fear and absolute power, found itself unable to cope with this new kind of enemy. The humans didn't fear them. They didn't bow down to their might. Instead, they fought for their freedom, for their planet, and for their future. It was this unyielding spirit that had turned the tide of the war. The Empire's forces were no longer invincible, they were vulnerable. The humans had found their strength, and now they were using it to destroy the Empire. As the Empire's defeat became inevitable, the leaders tried desperately to hold on to their power. They called for reinforcements, hoping to turn the tide. But it was too late. The humans were no longer just defending themselves, they were in control. Earth's forces, led by the super soldiers, launched a final assault on the Empire's capital, determined to put an end to the Empire's reign once and for all. The battle for the heart of the Empire was brutal. The Empire's last-ditch efforts to stop the humans failed as the super soldiers broke through their defenses, one by one. The Empire's leaders, who had once ruled the galaxy with absolute authority, found themselves cornered and powerless. Their empire, built on oppression and fear, was crumbling before their eyes. In the end, the Galactic Empire fell. Its once mighty fleets lay in ruins, its leaders either captured or defeated. The humans, led by their super soldiers, had emerged victorious. The Empire's reign of terror was over, and Earth had become the symbol of resistance and freedom. The fall of the Galactic Empire was not just a victory for Earth, it was a message to the entire galaxy. Humanity had proven that no matter how strong an empire might be, no matter how advanced its technology, the will to fight for freedom could overcome any force. The Empire had underestimated the humans, and that mistake had cost them everything. As the dust settled, Earth stood victorious, and the galaxy was forever changed. The humans, once considered a small and insignificant species, had shown that they were more than capable of standing up to the greatest powers in the universe. The fall of the Galactic Empire marked the beginning of a new era, one where humanity would rise to become a force to be reckoned with in the galaxy. For thousands of years, the Galactic Empire ruled over the galaxy with an iron fist. They were the most powerful force in the universe, feared by every species that lived under their control. The Empire's fleets, made up of massive warships, traveled from one star system to the next, bringing entire planets to heel. No one dared to challenge them. Their technology was unmatched, their weapons unstoppable, and their army was vast. Every corner of the galaxy bowed to their will. From the core of their empire, a powerful council of leaders made all the decisions. They sat in a grand, towering building, a symbol of their strength and power. Their influence stretched across thousands of worlds, and their enemies either feared them or lived in their shadow. For most of the galaxy, life under the Empire was a mixture of strict control and oppression. The Empire had perfected the art of maintaining power by crushing any sign of rebellion, silencing anyone who dared to question them, and always keeping their enemies divided. But there was one planet the Empire paid little attention to. It was far away, on the edge of the galaxy, in a system they thought was insignificant. The Empire had little interest in Earth, dismissing it as a backwater planet filled with primitive creatures. They knew of Earth, of course, but they thought of it as a planet that had nothing to offer. Its inhabitants, humans, were seen as weak and unimportant. They had no advanced technology, no powerful fleet, and certainly no standing in the galactic community. The Empire didn't even bother to interfere with their affairs, believing that humans were simply too backward to ever pose a threat. On Earth, humans lived their lives in peace, unaware of the vast empire that stretched across the galaxy. They had no idea that the Empire controlled millions of planets, or that their peaceful existence was so fragile. Earth was a quiet, small planet in a faraway part of the universe, and its people were mostly focused on their own struggles. Their world had its own problems, wars, poverty, and political struggles, but there was no sign of the grand galactic conflicts happening elsewhere. While the Galactic Empire maintained its unchallenged dominance, it didn't realize that Earth was the one place they had ignored. The humans were learning, evolving, and slowly building their own capabilities. They may have been behind technologically, but they had something the Empire didn't expect: determination. Humans had survived against all odds for centuries. They had overcome challenges, rebuilt after disasters, and come together when needed the most. Their will to survive and fight for their freedom was a force the Empire had never encountered. The Empire didn't know it yet, but they had made a dangerous mistake. While they ruled over the galaxy, they had overlooked one simple truth: humans were not as weak as they seemed. And that would soon change everything. The Galactic Empire had ruled the stars for so long that they thought nothing could threaten their control. They had seen many species rise and fall, but none had ever truly challenged them. The Empire's leaders were confident in their power. But there was one thing they hadn't accounted for: humans. Earth, a planet they had long ignored, was about to become their greatest surprise. It all started when the Empire's scouts, always looking for new resources or potential colonies, ventured into a distant part of the galaxy. They had already mapped many star systems, and Earth's solar system was just another point on their map. But something strange happened during their routine exploration. Their sensors detected signals coming from the third planet, the one they had dismissed as unimportant. At first, the Empire thought it was nothing. Just another form of noise in the vastness of space. But as their scanners dug deeper, they found something astonishing. These signals were intelligent, highly organized, and unlike anything they had ever encountered from any other species in the galaxy. Humans, despite their backward technology, had been sending signals into space for years, unaware of the immense Empire watching them from the stars. The Empire's leaders were curious but not worried. They decided to send a small team of diplomats and scientists to make contact. They had done this countless times before with other species, and it was usually easy to show their strength and demand obedience. However, this time, things didn't go as expected. The Empire sent a fleet to Earth, confident that their superior ships and weapons would quickly subdue the humans. Their plan was simple: show strength, demand obedience, and crush any resistance. They underestimated humanity's will to fight and survive. The Empire's forces arrived in Earth's atmosphere, ready to intimidate, but what they found was not submission, it was defiance. Humanity had been preparing for this moment, though the Empire hadn't noticed. While the Empire had been busy focusing on conquering other planets, Earth had been quietly developing its own technology. Humans had spent years studying the stars, building secret weapons, and preparing for the unknown. They may have lacked the advanced space fleets of the Empire, but they made up for it with ingenuity, resourcefulness, and something the Empire didn't understand: determination. When the Empire's ships tried to land, they were met by a surprising resistance. The humans had deployed their own defenses, using technology the Empire hadn't even known existed. Their satellites, hidden deep within the planet's systems, launched surprise attacks on the Empire's fleet, catching them off guard. The Empire's warships, which were supposed to be unstoppable, were now facing fierce resistance from a planet they had written off as insignificant. At first, the Empire tried to dismiss the humans' efforts. They believed the humans were simply making a last-ditch effort to defend their world. But each attack from the humans showed something different: they were organized. They had a strategy. Their weapons weren't as powerful as the Empire's, but they were creative. Humans fought not just for survival, but for their freedom. They were willing to die to protect their planet. The Empire's forces, though large and well-equipped, began to realize that this was not a fight they could win with sheer strength alone. The more the Empire pushed, the more the humans pushed back. The Empire's fleet had underestimated the human spirit. They thought Earth was just a quiet, unimportant planet. But they had ignored the one thing that made humans unique: their refusal to give up. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, humans fought back with everything they had. They were learning from every battle, adapting quickly, and finding new ways to fight the Empire. The Empire's leaders were furious. They had made a huge mistake by underestimating humanity. What was supposed to be an easy victory had turned into a battle for survival. The more they tried to crush the humans, the more they realized that they were not facing a weak species, but one that would not back down. The tide was turning, and the Empire was starting to lose the control they thought was guaranteed. The humans weren't just surviving, they were fighting to win. And the Galactic Empire was starting to feel the weight of their mistake. They had thought the humans were nothing to worry about. But now, it was clear that Earth was far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. As the battles between the Galactic Empire and Earth's forces raged on, something extraordinary was happening. While the Empire's fleets dominated space with their overwhelming power, they were still being pushed back by humanity's stubborn resistance. Earth's forces weren't as strong as the Empire's, and their technology wasn't as advanced, but they were resourceful. They fought with determination, using every weapon at their disposal. What the Empire didn't know, however, was that the humans had a secret weapon, something the Empire had never considered. For decades, humans had been secretly preparing for the possibility of an alien threat. They had always looked up at the stars, wondering what else was out there. But what they didn't know then was that humanity's greatest strength was not in their technology nor their military power. It was in their people, their soldiers. Earth had been quietly working on a project that would change everything. The secret weapon wasn't a weapon at all in the traditional sense. It was a team of super soldiers, genetically enhanced humans who had been placed in cryogenic sleep for years, ready to be awakened when the time was right. These soldiers were stronger, faster, and smarter than ordinary humans. They had been trained for every kind of warfare, and their enhancements made them nearly unstoppable. The project had been a closely guarded secret, known only to a few, and the Empire had no idea that such a force was waiting on Earth. The human governments, unaware of the Empire's presence, were initially cautious when they detected the first signs of the alien ships approaching their planet. But they didn't panic. Earth had always been a place of discovery, exploration, and technological advancement. The humans had been dreaming of space travel for centuries, and now it seemed their dreams were becoming a reality. They were excited, but also nervous. What did these visitors want? Were they friendly? Or were they invaders? When the Empire ships landed, humans greeted them with curiosity but no fear. The diplomats who stepped out were met with a mixed reaction. Some humans welcomed them, hoping for a new era of discovery and peace. Others, though, were more cautious. They had heard enough stories of alien invasions and war to know that not every visitor to Earth would be kind. The human leaders were uncertain, was this the beginning of something great, or would it lead to destruction? The Empire's diplomats tried to use their usual tactics. They spoke of their power, their control over the galaxy, and their offer of peace in exchange for Earth's submission. They expected the humans to bow down, to be intimidated by the might of the Empire. But something unexpected happened. Instead of being afraid, the humans asked questions. They weren't quick to submit. They wanted to know more, to understand the Empire's true intentions. They questioned their motives, their past actions, and the way they ruled other species. The Empire's diplomats were stunned. They had never encountered a species that didn't immediately fall in line. The humans didn't fear them, they saw the Empire as just another power in the galaxy, no different from the many empires before them. They were not impressed by their size or technology. The Empire had underestimated Earth's people. This first encounter, rather than marking the beginning of humanity's submission, became the beginning of a new chapter. The humans weren't weak or helpless, and they were far more resourceful than the Empire had ever imagined. The diplomats returned to their ships, confused and unsettled. They had come to dominate a planet they had thought was insignificant, but they had found something far different, a species that was not only capable but ready to stand its ground. This was the moment the Empire realized they had made a grave mistake. Humanity was not what they had expected. And this mistake would cost them dearly. After the first contact, the Empire's leaders were puzzled. They had sent their best diplomats to Earth, expecting a quick and easy submission. They thought they could easily intimidate the humans with their vast fleet and advanced technology. But instead, they had met a species that was far more curious and determined than they ever imagined. Humans had questions, challenges, and, most importantly, a deep sense of pride in their independence. The Galactic Empire quickly decided that the humans were not worth wasting time on. They dismissed the encounter as a minor setback, believing the humans were too weak and too small to ever pose a real threat. The Empire had faced many species throughout the galaxy, and they knew how to deal with them. They assumed that Earth, with its primitive technology and lack of advanced weaponry, would simply fall in line, just as every other species had done before them. But they were wrong.